Jack's gonna be first up over for the team 1, and after this round, we'll see if what the vote is going to be for the whether Priest should be able to use Void Shift or not. Stun on Chicago, Silencer follow, does go for the big Mind Flay off the bat. That's actually does quite a bit of damage, man. The Mind Flay and the dots all together. The filler damage for Priest is actually kind of strong. Burrow by Chicago, trying to see if he can get a surprise opener onto Jax. Does knock him up in the air with the Thunder to follow. Lightning Lasso right after. It's going to be immediate check out Jax. If Chicago can interrupt Jax on a shadow, that would be fantastic. It's going to go for a mind game. Chicago's kind of limited to what they can do. No silence for a second. Try to go for a kick. Jax does get a juke it. Bad damage onto Chicago. Try to see if they can survive it. Mage to go for a wall together with Guardian, potentially trying to see if he can deny having to use any of his big defensives just yet, while Jax slowly crawling all around the corner. Does get hit with roots over and over. What was that? Stalling onto Chicago, not much he can really do. Shadow Crash to follow. It's going to be a silence onto Chicago. Nothing you can really do about it. Can go for a proper interrupt. Jax doesn't go for the biggest damage just yet. Is going to go for the Dark Iron Racial into Insanity, trying to see if he can get a juke out of Chicago. On a cast, Chicago, the more damage they take right now, if they don't go for a proper interrupt, they could be in a rough spot. It's going to be Mind Games. Does not go for a kick yet. Trying to be extra careful with Jags on interrupts, because if you end up kicking them at the wrong time, it's not going to be great for you at all, because the Jax gets precognition, bunch of haze buff, immune to CC for a short moment. It really punishes you for being able to juke out an enemy. Void Torrent to follow. It's going to be Chicago. Can't really do much about it. No kick available for the moment. Trying to see if he can give himself a little bit more survivability. Grinding Totem, dropping in. Healing Totem, maybe if they can get it done. Again, still trying to see if they can hold on to the wall as best as possible. Trinkets out of this. So Tentacle is going to attack you from the other angle. So Jax doesn't really give you much of respite, no matter which side of the pillar you're at. But finally, Root Totem together with a Trusted Healing Stream should hopefully be able to help you hold up just a little bit longer. Quick Fear by the Shadow Place with a Siphon on top of it. And Jags with his Silencer follow, putting pressure onto Chicago. If he can catch up to Chicago, you're going to have him in a bad spot. The Siphon does catch Chicago for just a second. Is going to apply a slow as well as a heal reduction on him into a lasso, but it's going to be Trinket Siphon to follow. Chicago trying to play it super safe. I think maybe Chicago's trying to find a perfect opportunity to go for the big blowout damage. Trying to see if they can maybe blast out Jags with a full-on Ascendance once they get all the buffs they have. There goes the Ascendance. Silence to follow. Jags with the Mind Games. It's going to end up healing him back a little bit, but Chicago can fight through it into a wall as well as a Guardian. Trying to see if he can maximize damage. Stun to follow. Jags got into a full Void Eruption. Lots of damage opportunity right now. Massive Wind Strikes back-to-back with his Sunder. That's going to be Jags with a Disperse as he takes the very end of that Ascendance, but is able to survive it. It's going to be Chicago with more Ghost Raptors than ready. Root onto Jags with a Healing Stream Totem. As the Fear comes out, Jags goes in for the Dark Iron Racial to remove any dots off of him. Has got him some more tentacles with Chicago. Last to follow, but it's got that Siphon. Chicago trying to see if he can control it as best as possible. If Jags get interrupted on Shadow right now, he could potentially go down here. Does get himself a bit of a desperate pair. And Chicago trying to see if he can trek all the way behind that pillar. The Shadow Priest does not want to go down without a fight whatsoever. Interrupt by Chicago. Got himself more Mind Games to follow. Stun on Chicago right after that. As they're going for a trick at Sounder to follow. Big damage on Jags. Wait a second. Oh, Chicago was able to overpower him. Had to play for a long game. 4 minutes into the duel. Waited until the perfect lineup. It just had to play it super safe. Does have a knockback for Killel as the man is trying to see if he can get back in there. It has a grounding totem. Maybe he can ground one of the spells. I think the stun was already used, so there's not much you can really do. Chicago, do you have any more survivability whatsoever? Needs to get Ghost Raptors. Lightning Lasso forcing a trinket out of Killel. Do you have any survivability at all? Only got the totem to help you out a little bit here and there. Does have the burrow last second to at least try to see if he can dip out of there. Using the burrow just to disconnect. Wall coming back up for Chicago very soon. We'll definitely to wall the next go by Khalel. If the Paladin walks in, especially during wings, or if he goes in for a stun, if you can pre-wall, you'll be in a fantastic spot. Got himself Primordium, blind by Khalel. Trying to see if he can back up out of there. Knocking himself up in the air with the cleanses that he gets from Judgments into a full wall by Chicago. Trying to see if he can tank up this damage. Guardian not available for a good bit though. Stun releases a wall for this one for a little bit. Knocking back the Paladin for just a moment. Guardian very soon using whatever maelstrom he can in order to keep himself alive as best as possible into a full bloodlust already with an Earth Elemental joining in, giving Chicago a little bit more health to work with. May decide to go for a full-on Guardian. There goes the Guardian. Whatever damage you do and the healing you do, it's also going to get duplicated as healing onto yourself, so at least gives you a bit of recovery. No trigger for a good bit. If Khalil gets himself a proper stun with wings, maybe Chicago could go down here. Actually, might not even wings need a stun, just full on wings, just blast out Chicago right then and there, not even giving him much of a chance to set up. with Setback gonna be up next. Full freeze under Kalel with a Ring of Fire. Does try to go in for a kick. Does get juked out completely. Setback with full blast out with the Fire Blast. Oh, Phoenix Flames right after. Does not give the Paladin any opportunity to make a comeback whatsoever. Does end up taking him out. With Flaming gonna be up next as a Destruction Warlock. Trying to see if he can set up a gateway, but Setback not giving him an opportunity whatsoever. Flaming on the approach. Got himself a defensive. Setback got himself the images, so at least they'll be able to add a little bit of a slowing effect towards Flaming. And also Setback get himself a random combustion, so that's gonna give him a little bit of damage procs. Getting a full interrupt onto Flaming, and the Warlock looking to retreat behind the pillar. Still needs to establish a gateway at some point. May decide to burn a Soul Stone in order to get the gateway going. Setback should be very, very careful with a demon floating above. It is going to do 10% of your health worth of damage with every single cast, unless you can somehow line aside it or just attack the demon. But Flamin got himself full wall. That is a pretty big defensive used by the Warlock. So for the Mage, this actually could be a pretty good situation. Got himself Pyros at the very least, so you got instant cast, maybe Phoenix Flames, Fire Blast. You should be getting those things back to back here and there. Phoenix Flames getting sent in, and Flamin trying to see if he can put some pressure on him. Fire Blast flying in yet again, back to back. A Setback at least is hopefully get himself some valuable procs out of this one. Flaming defenses are coming back up little by little, recuperating back with a Dark Pack together with the Reflect. Setback trying to see if he can eat food, but the portal's just not letting him do it. It still keeps blasting Shadow Bolts at you. I think maybe now you might be able to, but this is where Flaming trying to see if he can swing around. Maybe could send in succubus. Full combusted already. Big blaster damage for Setback. Flaming trying to see if he can reflect some of it back over the Mage. Mage looking for a spell steal, but the succubus sees gonna stop in place. Going for the undead Rachel and to remove it, but it's gonna be an infernal drop it in. Mortal Call right as he gets himself a port back with an ultra time. Fireballs and Fire Blast are doing a lot of damage to Flaming. Oh, trying to go for a fear, but couldn't quite do it. The Setback trying to go for a little bit of that cooldown reduction, going for that shit and power breath onto Nocturnes. He realizes he's in a bad spot. He needs to reposition, trying to catch him with a polymorph, hoping to maybe get a trinket out of the Shadow Priest. He's gonna send in a Fire Blast with the Phoenix Flames, doing quite a bit of damage together with the Ring of Fire. This is where Nocturnes can either go behind the pillar and catch himself a reheal. May just want it. That's actually a lot of Fire Blast damage back to back. Setback, if he wants to get back over there, is going to be dealing with a Shadow Fiend. Has himself Ice Block, has himself Cauterize, so maybe the Mage could someone potentially turn this around here. Nocturne's not in a great spot, does get a stun to Setback. That's going to be potentially a Cauterize here, as Setback can't really do much. He's trying to see if he can fight through the mind games. It's going to be dispersed out of Nocturne. So far, Setback has not went down, has not had a proc out cheat dead just yet. Nocturne's with a big defensive, does get himself a bit of reset into another combustion. Setback goes in for an Ice Block. That's going to be Void Eruption, as Nocturne expects for him to bust out of it. Has the Void Eruptions in the ready, but he's just not going to go for it. Does not want to go for the mana expensive, what is it, Massive Spell by the looks of it. Interrupt him on Shadow. Nocturne says nowhere to go. He's just kind of floating away, but that's about all he's really got. A couple Fire Blasts would do it. And it's going to be Setback going for a bit of cooldown reduction. Got him some ability to at least get himself a bit of a setup. Yet another combustion versus Val. What is this combustion? What is going on? It's going to be big blaster damage to Setback. Still has the Cauterize. Bubble for Val. I don't know if Setback can maybe survive this somehow. Got himself in biz. Cauterize still in play. Wait, maybe live long enough. If you get back over to Val, you just take him out. Breath to follow. Do you have any combo right after Fireball right after? Do you have the damage? Oh, he does get the kill. No way, he does get the kill. He went down, but he wanted to make sure there was a kill at the end of it. No way, Setback. Are you kidding me? He got 4. I thought it was gonna only go through for 3. What is this Fire Mage damage? Oh my god. This man, dude, talk about min-maxing. He literally used his health bar as a resource.